Hello there. My name is Kathy Skaggs and welcome to my studio. I'm here with you today to share with you some super simple silk screens. If you missed some of our other videos, we talked about making underglaze inks with using AMACO velvet underglazes. Fabulous. And letting them dry out so that we can make them into silkscreen and block printing inks. We talked about easy screen and how to print on clay. We talked about how to print on newsprint and transfer those prints. And last week we did 2 simple silk screens, and today we're going to do 2 more. Last week we talked about these simple silk screens. This one is done with sheer fabric and painter's tape, and I can't believe how great it printed. Fabulous. And this one was done with stickers. So these were price tag stickers that I pulled off, and I left the backing and I just stuck it onto the sheer fabric, put it on the moist clay, and used a sponge to transfer, silk screen it on there. And I could not believe how great those printed. And I have 2 more for you today. So let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is make your screens out, and we're making them out of sheer fabric, and we're making them out of painter's tape, and then we're just going to trim off the edges. And this is going to be the start for all these little screens that we're doing. Remember, you don't have to use silk. You can use another sheer fabric. It's cheaper, very accessible, super easy. The first thing you want to do is prepare your slabs, because you're going to be printing straight onto moist clay slabs for this part of it. And instead of leaving the background white, we want to take some AMACO velvet underglazes, and we want to sponge on some underglazes onto the surface to make a bed of color to print on top of. Sponging underglazes works great because sometimes you don't know how much you apply of the underglaze, and if you do it with a brush, it can get streaky if you don't get enough on and put your 3 coats. I like sponging it on because that texture shows through. I only have to put 1 coat. I don't have to worry about how much I put on. And they're so easy to blend. I love mixing AMACO velvet underglazes because I get this wide range of colors. So don't be afraid to put them together, because really they work great together. So here I'm just sponging it on. This is another way that I do it. I use these little paint rollers I buy from Home Depot, and I just roll it on the surface, and I love the texture and the surface that gives me. And this way I'm taking a brayer and I'm taking the underglaze ink. Remember, that's what we set out to evaporate so it's thick and sticky like a block printing ink. And I roll it onto the surface, and I love the surface that that gives me as well. The first one that we're going to do is ones with cut paper. My original idea was to pop out these little circles and put them on the screen, and oh, that was too many little parts. But what I did like are the parts that were left. So I took those and I cut those up, and so you can have students, or you can cut up any kind of paper shapes that you want. Then you're going to take some white glue and you're going to glue them on. Notice I put a piece of plastic underneath it. You can use wax paper, or you can use freezer paper. You don't want it to stick to the surface where you're gluing. So if you put it on paper, you don't want it to stick to that. We're just putting a little amount of glue. Notice that we're just putting a little bit, just enough to hold those pieces in place, because we don't want to add so much glue that it blocks the holes. So we're going to put all our pieces in place, and we're going to set that out, and we're going to let that dry. Once it's thoroughly dry, then we're ready to print with it. We're going to put it paper side down, and then we're going to press it on that surface. Now, the color that we added previously is dry to the touch, but the slab is moist. So it's not like a real dry slab. And notice that I'm starting in the center and working out, kind of with a circular motion, but that little bit of glue on those paper shapes hold them in place so they don't come apart as I'm trying to print. I was shocked at how well this worked, and how I was able to get multiple prints. It's not going to last forever, but for a quick print, it worked great. Remember, if you don't want to work on slabs and then build something, you can do it on the side of a slab pot. Any flat surface will work. You could probably curve it around a surface too. I haven't tried it with this one, but I have tried it with others with a lot of success. So I'm just going to add this. Remember, you can mix your colors once you're sponging them on. You don't need a squeegee. Super fast, super simple. And I was again surprised at the prints that I got. Once I was using the glue, I thought, why not use the glue itself? This is another way that I make simple silk screens. If I want something a little sturdier to hang on to or to have students hang on to, I take my fabric, I cut it a little bit bigger than the opening that I've cut in the file folder, and I'm going to take painter's tape and tape it down. And this gives me a little bit more to hang on to, so if you think the other ones are a little too flimsy, you might try this method. So we're going to trim this off, and if you need to, you can always sketch on it with a pencil, but I just like drawing with the white glue. So I come in here and draw. It's a little more impromptu because the glue is not real controllable anyway, so it's good to put it on. Now it's totally dry, and I can press it onto the slab, and I can start from the middle and working out. I'm going to print this, and wow, that printed so well. It gives it a real hand-drawn look, and I was surprised at how well that the white glue stayed in the screen so I could get multiple prints. And I just loved the way that this one printed, and so easy. So these are the prints that I made. This, and now I washed these screens, and I was really surprised at how well these held up. You can see that the pieces are glued on. Again, you put it this side down and then you squeegee it over. It's best if the slab is moist. I put the layer of green, and once it was dry to the touch, I then silk screened over it. This is the glue one, and again, I was shocked at how well that glue stayed on the screen, and I love the prints that I made. Now, you may be looking at this and saying, thank you very much, but I'm never going to print on flat slabs. What is this going to turn into? Stay tuned. In our next, when we meet again, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to make some things out of these decorated slabs. So you can decorate and then make your piece instead of making your piece and sitting there going, how should I decorate it? So we're working in reverse. You can always do it later after you've made the piece with small screens, but I'm going to show you some alternative methods. So stay tuned and join us again. See you then.